This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
Get ready to laugh out loud. Gabriel Fluffy Iglesias is bringing his comedy tour to Treasure Island Resort and Casino live September 6th and 7th. Don't miss your chance to see one of the world's funniest comedians. Get your tickets today at ticasino.com.
One text messenger says it's pronounced Mangione. I pronounce it different depending upon the day. I picked that up from Mark Rosen. It's either Mangione or Mangione, whatever you want to call it. Just like it's either Doncic or Doncic, whatever you want to call him. What's the other one? Three-point shooter for our club. DiVincenzo or DiVincenzo. Sometimes it just depends what kind of a mood I'm in. I like to use both ways to pronounce his name. It's time now for 534.
Time now for 5 questions. Well, actually 3, but 5 sounds like more than 4. Question number 1.
We're gonna win, Twins, we're gonna score.
It's now time to delve deep into Twins territory.
Crack out a home run, shout a hit, hooray! Cheer for the Minnesota Twins today.
Yeah, the Twins ended their road trip with a painful 4-3 loss to the Dodgers yesterday. Freddie Freeman hit a walk-off 2-run single in the 9th inning to win it for L.A. Chris Paddock gave up just 1 run in 6 innings. That was just a solo homer by Shohei Ohtani, his 5th consecutive game with a homer. Royce Lewis went deep for the Twins. Common, what sticks out to you from the Twins' loss yesterday in the series finale?
Yeah, I don't know there's anything that sticks out. When you have a game, I guess it's like the game's in your grasp and you let it get away late. I guess would stick out, though. You know, we talked about this sort of kind of when we were talking. Are you buyers or sellers? There's really nothing about the team that I suppose it's possible that they could, cobble together some wins and stay close to that wild card race and grab a win. But there's nothing that makes me feel like this team's something special. By hook or by crook, we're going to figure things out here. So it's almost just playing out the string. It's just to come out of the All-Star break, we heard all the, and I'm sure every locker room, every dugout says it, it's kind of a fresh start, second half of the season, put some wins together and build some momentum, and then we go out and lose consecutive series to start the unofficial second half of the season. So it's not a lot to write home about, Tennessee.
What'd you think of Rocco's decision to intentionally walk Shohei Ohtani in the 9th inning?
I don't know. What was the situation?
So Twins were up 1 run going into the bottom of the 9th.
Yeah.
I believe the situation was runner on first, 2 outs, Shohei Ohtani's up. Rocco walks him. Some scrub I've never heard of was up next. And unfortunately, Griffin Jacks walked him. So now the bases were loaded. Freddie Freeman then hits a walk-off 2-run single.
It would be easy to second guess. And if you want me to make the argument that it was a blunder, I guess you could, especially hindsight being what it is. But if it's Ohtani, who's a dangerous hitter, and you got Scrub coming up after that, I'd rather take my chances with Scrub. It's one of those baseball decisions that, it's been done forever. If you got a really difficult hitter, especially if you're a sabermetrics and analytics guy and goes, now, who was on the mound for us?
Griffin Jacks.
Griffin Jacks against Ohtani, in their head-to-head matchups. Or when Griffin Jacks is facing this, a left-handed hitter or a right-handed hitter on the, with men on base in a night game in the month of July. They use a lot of those type of numbers, but I guess I don't have a problem with it.
Griffin Jacks disagreed with the decision. Yeah, I read that in the Star Tribune today.
Well, I can understand that because
the Dodgers manager said, "Hey, that was the right call."
Yeah. Well, I can. Well,
Because it sounds like they were out of moves.
Of course, the pitcher is going to disagree with that. He's going to act like, "Oh, you saying I can't get that guy out?"
Don't walk the next guy, Griffin.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand why the pitcher would say that. He doesn't. He's going to say, "Well, you don't trust me. You don't think I can get him out? I'm not afraid of anybody. I'll get him." And I admire a guy that says that. But I don't think it was. I think if anybody's, to me, it would be much ado about nothing.
He gave Shohei the Barry Bonds treatment, and I really don't blame him.
Yeah, I like I say, I would do the same, especially if Freddie Freeman was next up.
That changes things.
That changes things.
Yeah.
But it wasn't Freddie Freeman; it was Scrub Guy. So yeah, I don't mind.
Question number 2.
It's now time to take an in-depth look at the welfare of the Wolves.
Where's your food? This is a Barrero-like question. You'd have time to eat here.
You didn't attend the Greg Swedberg luncheon celebration?
I was there for the first 15 minutes.
Why didn't you have lunch?
Because I didn't want that lunch.
You know,
You weren't there for the first 15 minutes. Why weren't you there to hear Greg Swedberg's speech?
I've heard that speech millions of times. I go to his office every day. Chris Carr and I are the only guys that go to Greg Swedberg's office each and every day and have a conversation. Greg Swedberg is one of my favorite people in the whole wide. He is one of my favorite people in the whole wide world. You don't like taco? I thought you liked tacos.
I'd eat some plain tacos, yeah.
Oh. Well, there were plain tacos in there. There was taco meat.
But the speech ended at 11:15. By the time the line would have been done, I'm like, I have work I got to get done. So, and I brought my own lunch. So I ate at my desk and I worked.
Well, the reason I don't have my lunch is because I wanted to celebrate Greg's with everybody else, and I
celebrated with him the first 15 minutes, and you weren't there.
But you left, and then you didn't,
and you weren't there for the whole time either.
You didn't break bread with everybody
I did while we were waiting beforehand, yeah.
With your coworkers and have food with them and laugh and smile and happy. You just went out brooding by yourself.
You weren't there on time either, so I don't think you have the right to. You weren't there for the whole thing.
I'll say it again.
Yeah.
How many times do you spend? How many times have you went to Greg Swedberg's office and just sat down and talked with Greg?
Very rarely happens.
Okay, I do it every single day, at least twice a day. So Greg and I were really good, and I didn't need to be there.
You have a little bit better work-life balance than I do.
Yeah, I've got a great relationship with Greg. We go way back, and so I didn't feel I needed to be there for the beginning of that. Plus, I had to get mechanics work done on my car that was scheduled, and I can show you the receipt if you want to see it, but I had an appointment already made well before the celebration was announced, so I rushed here as fast as I possibly could. And then I sat and I congratulated Greg, and matter of fact, I started singing "For He's a Jolly Good Fellow" when I came into the room, and then I congratulated him and looked. The plaque he got, it looks like he's a wolf man. Did you take a close look at it? It's sort of engraved, his face, and it looks like his face is covered in little tiny hairs all around his face. It was very bizarre. So that's why I'm not eating lunch. I got
a long question for you.
I ate lunch with all my fellow employees who I love dearly.
Zach Cram of ESPN wrote a column titled "All 30 NBA teams' biggest roster mistakes since 2020." And for the Wolves, he thought their biggest mistake was trading for D'Angelo Russell in 2020. He said, to some extent, the Timberwolves trade for Russell worked out in the long run because they eventually dealt him for Mike Conley and Nickeil Alexander-Walker en route to back-to-back conference finals appearances. But there must have been a less expensive way to get backcourt help because the Timberwolves first acquired Russell in exchange for Andrew Wiggins and a future first-round pick. Wiggins became arguably the second best player on the title-winning 2021-2022 Golden State Warriors, and that draft pick landed at number 7 and became Jonathan Kuminga. Meanwhile, Russell never took off in Minnesota despite his well-documented friendship with Karl Anthony Towns, and the Timberwolves rightly realized they needed a better option at point guard if they ever wanted to win in the postseason. In his lone playoff series with Minnesota, Russell averaged 12 points per game on 33% shooting. Common, do you agree that trading for D'Lo was the Wolves' biggest mistake over the past 5 years?
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, a close runner-up would be trading for Gobert, I think. And then maybe third would be trading
Big Meow.
Bodega Cat. Yeah, but I would say, yeah, because Russell, and I was a big D'Angelo Russell guy. I liked the move when they first did it. One of those combo guards that could shoot a little bit, but yeah, it seemed as though he would either be brutal or brilliant, but he was more brutal than brilliant. That was the biggest problem. There were days he would just like a lot of NBA guys, he'd light it up, But yeah, that was not, that did not
I thought he was all right here, but I didn't realize I forgot they traded that much for him.
Yeah. Well, but Wiggins here,
at the time, yes.
Yeah, Wiggins here again. I mean, he wasn't. If the people that I trust, the people in the basketball community, I think will tell you that Wiggins just he isn't like a main guy, right? And they needed somebody at the position that D'Lo played, and I know that sometimes putting pals together can be a mistake, right? It doesn't always work that way. It was like we saw it here with the kid. Remember when Garnett? He was almost he basically was responsible for putting most of the roster together. He wanted his pals on the club, and so they went out and they got his pals. And I don't know if it never brought us a world championship. So, but the idea that Big Meow and D'Lo got along, I think sometimes that can be a positive, right? But it certainly didn't work out in our favor, no.
Question number 3. And now it's time to go in the trenches.
New York Jets quarterback Justin Fields had to be carted off the field during today's practice. Head coach Aaron Glenn said that Fields suffered a right toe injury. Ian Rappaport of NFL Media reports that the initial diagnosis is a dislocated toe, and that tests show Fields did not suffer a fracture. Common, where are you at with Justin Fields in his career? Are you still a believer or are you a non-believer?
Can you answer me? How did he dislocate his toe? Was it just dropping back?
It sounds like someone stepped on it.
Okay.
Which I guess if it's some 300-pound guy stepping on your toe, that could be a little painful.
I don't know what to make of him. He was drafted what number overall?
It was like 10, 11-ish. Because the Vikings, I thought, were in the mix
right.
I thought they liked him, if I remember correctly.
I think a lot of people did. So I guess it's been a disappointment. Injury aside, injuries, and I don't think I use an injury as a way to judge a guy's talent, but he just that's the thing with McCarthy. I think McCarthy is probably more highly regarded than Fields is, but again, drafted in that same area, and you never know what a guy's going to do. But yeah, I don't know. I thought
Fields was all right last year because he started the season as Pittsburgh's quarterback when Russell Wilson was hurt, and I thought they were like 4-1 with him as their quarterback.
Yeah.
And they still made the change.
Yeah.
And that's it for today's edition of 5 Questions. Well, actually 3 questions, but 5 sounds like more than 4.
Well, let's take another break. The legendary Mark Rosen will join us just before 12 o'clock or before 2 o'clock. But as we go to break, Tenneby's got a keyword for us, my boy.
Yeah, the fan and BigDeck.com want to give you a shot to win bonus bucks with our national cash contest. Just enter the keyword cash at KFAN.com now for a shot at winning. That keyword is cash. Enter now at KFAN.com. The concert event of the year is coming to Minneapolis. Paul McCartney live at U.S. Bank Stadium.
I am Iron Man.
That's at U.S. Bank Stadium, October 17th. Want to score a pair of tickets? Just head to KFAN.com, keyword contest now, and enter to win. But get back to our one night, one legend. Don't miss out.
There's a text message that came into the Brad, Sean, Brian, KFAN text line, 64686. It says, it's from Core Competency Guy. He writes, Common, I think you owe Mark Rosen an apology. Yesterday, you and Tennessee coaxed him into coming out there under the guise that the weather was going to be benign. Not so, as you know. Rosen almost got hit by lightning out there on your show. Please apologize to Mark Rosen. I thought the weather was going to get better. I showed Tennessee my weather forecast on my phone, and it said that starting in the 2 o'clock hour, it was supposed to clear up and be partly cloudy. You showed me the weather radar because you go by the weather radar. I just go by the forecast. You said, looks like it's going to be spotty. I think we're going to get some more. You ended up being correct with your weather forecast. I was just at an incorrect weather forecast. That's all. I didn't know for sure. I was just going by what I saw on my phone. My weather forecast always gives me an hourly, and it tells what the temperature is going to be at that time of the day, what the wind is going to be like, and the chance of rain. And it said from 2 o'clock on, it showed partly cloudy skies with a 20% chance of rain and no thunderstorms in the forecast. So I will plead not guilty to trying to, I wasn't trying to trick Mark Rosen into coming out. And he made the decision to come out after he found out the studios were under construction.
Yeah.
So he made that decision.
This wasn't an option anymore.
He made that decision on his own volition. He made that decision on his own volition. Here's a controversial story, Tennessee.
That's interesting.
Your how old are your kids?
10, 8, 5.
10, 8, and 5. You're playing organized baseball? Is it Little League baseball? Is that what you're playing? Or
No, our area does not do Little League.
Okay.
So I believe it's at Maya's, Minnesota Youth Athletics Services. I don't know.
Okay, right.
Whatever that stands for.
I've heard of that before. The reason
And that's just the oldest, Leo. The other ones are they're too young. They're just playing rec stuff.
The reason I brought up Little League, I was wondering because there's a very controversial Little League story going on in New Jersey. Did you see it?
No.
New Jersey Little Leaguer suspended for bat flip.
Oh, boy.
A 12-year-old Little Leaguer is distraught at the prospect of missing his team's first state tournament game because he was suspended for flipping his bat after hitting a game-winning home run. Though the story goes on then to say it's going to be a type of celebration Little League Baseball promotes on its social media accounts.
You've got to be kidding me.
Marco Rocco, great alliteration. Marco Rocco of Haddonfield, New Jersey, tossed his bat in the air on July 16 after his sixth inning, 2-run homer in the final of the sectional tournament. According to his dad. His dad talked to the Associated Press. His dad's Joe Rocco. Marco Rocco. At first, he was called out, but on appeal, the runs counted. Marco was ejected and suspended for a game over what the family was told were actions deemed unsportsmanlike and, you ready for this? Horseplay. Oh my gosh. Above average at that. Now his family has gone to court to seek an emergency temporary restraining order that will allow him to play in the New Jersey State Tournament. That starts on Thursday. Joe says, all we are asking is give peace. No, all we are asking for is that the suspension be lifted so he can play in the game. That's all they want. Sides are scheduled to make their arguments before a judge in the county chancery division on Thursday afternoon, just hours before the game. Think about the manager that has to put the lineup card together. He's not going to know until probably game time whether little Marco Rocco is going to be playing in the game. Think of the pressure. His teammates aren't going to know either. The winner of the state tourney advances to the regionals where they will have a chance to move on to the Little League World Series. Story goes on to read, Tennessee, what makes the ejection and suspension so confounding is that Little League Baseball posts videos of bat flip celebrations on social media that do not result in punishment. In fact, Marcos tossed his bat in celebration in prior tournament games without warnings or punishment, according to the court complaint. Joe Rocco called that hypocritical. He says they promote bat flips. The kids see major leaguers doing it. It's part of the game. He was just emulating what he saw. His dad says his son is distraught. He was so confused. He didn't understand what was going on. On the car ride home, he was saying, how can that be against the rules? If I knew I was breaking the rules, I never would have done it. A message-seeking comment was left with Little League's East Region headquarters after business hours on Wednesday night. No response as of yet. Tennessee, your thoughts on the controversial situation in New Jersey?
I'd like a little more context on the bat flip. Right. Just saying bat flip. Like if he just did a normal bat flip, like I've seen billions of times, I would say, why are we suspending this kid?
Right.
If he is looking at the opposing team's dugout and flips the bat towards their dugout, as like there's different types of bat flips that I need to know. I'd like to see video of it, frankly. I'm sure that's not available.
Just like there are different types of backflips. There are different types of backflips and different types of bat flips. If that makes sense. No, it does. It does. If you're doing it in a taunting measure, or if it was just you
hit a home run, you're flipping your bat.
Moment, hey, look at that. Because they do, the pros do it constantly.
Leo's age, they're 10. They're not hitting balls out of the park. Right. So it doesn't really exist for them. But a good majority of them make some sort of celebration motion when they get on base, right? We had one player that hit just kind of like a flare bloop to right field, like just barely went, kind of blooped over the first baseman. They threw the ball, missed the first baseman. So he ended up getting to second base, and he gets on second base and starts like flexing his biceps and showing his biceps. So like, it's ingrained in these kids to kind of celebrate like after every single hit, because that's what they've seen before. I will say baseball in general, like gotten a little bit sensitive about all the bat flips.
Watch the video. The way he threw the bats, someone could have been seriously injured.
Well, there's that too.
Punish someone at some time.
So is there video of this?
Gets hurt. This was egregious. Well, he said he did. He said, watch the video. Pretty much everything's videoed now. I would suppose it's somewhere. Then back to the Rosen controversy. This one says, you don't have to apologize for expecting the Twin Cities Golden Boy to bring out the sun from 2 to 3. If anything, Mark should apologize to you. And I agree with that. Then someone said, is it really that hard to say sorry that you were wrong? I said the forecast was wrong. I said I gave him the wrong forecast. I gave him the forecast. No, I wasn't wrong. I gave him the forecast as I saw it on my phone. It's the same forecast I use every day to plan my golf. And the forecast said 20% chance of showers starting at 2 o'clock. And it was only 50-50 at 1. I blame the meteorologist. Blame the weather guy.
I have seen the bat flip.
And?
It's an insanely high bat flip. That wasn't just a bat flip. He threw it up in the air, like 20 feet into the air. Right. The problem is,
could it have hurt somebody?
Where it lands is out of the right. Like I'm only seeing like a stationary camera behind home plate.
Yeah.
So where that bat eventually lands, we cannot see where he lands. We cannot see what's over there. If there's people over there. That was a pretty crazy bat flip, though.
I think you know how I feel about celebrations in general. And I'm not doing the act like you've been there before. That's because you can use that one, and I do tend to agree with that. But just in general, I think sometimes the celebrations get over the top. We've talked about I know they're harmless, and if you like them, great. And it does make me not watch the NFL. But those choreographed celebrations in the end zones after interceptions or pick sixes or fumble recoveries, they don't do anything for me. I think they're way over the top.
I like the gritty.
Necessary. If you I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I don't need. I was a Barry Sanders guy. Flip the ball to the ref and move on with your life. I don't think celebrations should be banned because they do entertain people. I think they're mind candy. They don't do anything for me, but. And again, when it's kids, I don't know. They're just and again, if kids will be kids, right? They're just having fun. There are more text messages coming in on that controversial topic. We'll get back to it on the other side of the break, plus a couple of other odds and ends I have before we welcome the legendary one into the studio here on The Fan.
Thanks to friends at Unreal, you can restock your wardrobe with Unreal golf apparel this year, just like Common. Register to win up to $1,000 in Unreal Golf apparel on our contest page. One lucky winner will restock their closet with amazing golf apparel thanks to Unreal. That's KFAN.com. Keyword contest to enter today.
Listeners are blowing up the Brad, Sean, Brian, KFAN text lines. It's a topic that I was warned by upper management not to talk about today, and that's the controversial bat flip. In a Little League game in New Jersey, a lot of people are, this one says, just watch the bat flip video. It's obnoxious, but it's not extreme. It wasn't towards anyone, or when they throw it across half the field, it lands next to the baseline. I'd say it went a little out of body, but that could just be the adrenaline, much like Tenneby's adrenaline of crushing the ball out of a ballpark when he just meant to put it in play. Same kind of a thing. Tenneby, you've been there. I did watch it. I think I saw the video you did where you can't see where the bat falls.
Yeah.
I also saw another video from a different angle from over on the first baseline. It doesn't look like it came close to landing near anybody. There is a shadow. It's a night game. So there is a shadow of someone where the bat kind of falls, and between the kid and the shadow is where the bat falls. So the shadow was being from someone, I don't know if it was a base coach, it was a guy in the on-deck circle, or what it was, but it still didn't look very close to me. So as far as the text messenger that said it could have killed, well, he didn't say kill somebody, it could have hurt somebody, I'm not so sure about that.
I will say, though, I wouldn't call it a bat flip. I'd call it a bat throw.
Yeah, you could say that.
It was more aggressive and higher in the air than a typical bat flip.
Yeah.
Don't know if it's worthy of a one-game suspension.
Right. Because it was obvious it was a, I'm not going to put it on the same level as we'll see you tomorrow night, but it was a we'll see you tomorrow night moment for that kid, right? I mean, that won the game. It sent them into the next round, the championship game. It was the last inning, I believe. It was do or die. So I know why he's excited. Just watch the video. Give me a break. No one was getting injured. It was harmless. Yeah, I thought it was harmless. This one says, the bat is tossed 20 feet up in the air at his own team's dugout as the players are entering into the foul part of the field. Aside from the chance to injure a teammate, the height may have been excessive, but it's not the worst thing I've seen yesterday. It should only be a suspension if it hits someone, in my opinion. This one says, Little League fields are not big. The kids on deck are not that far from the hitter versus a major league park with huge foul territory. Another one says, not dangerous at all.
I mean, you could say that specific one wasn't dangerous at all, but you are setting the precedent moving forward of, hey, here's how kids can flip bats in the air, and eventually one of them is going to hit somebody and hurt somebody.
You would think it could.
Right?
Sure.
So,
it's
I get it.
Yes. You know who I blame? The Savannah Bananas. They're the ones that are making this game. They're the ones that are making a mockery of the game. Not playing it the way it was supposed to be when Naismith invented it all those years ago. Somebody else talked about just the celebration in.
If after the bat flip he had started twerking as he was rounding the bases, then yeah, that might have been suspension worthy.
This one says the kid should go to jail. Well, you could make a case for it. Tennis coming across so soft. It's an aggressive toss, not a throw. This one says, well, it's a toss to me. It's not a throw. He
really
didn't
big
throw
difference
it at
there.
somebody. Well, there is a toss up in the air and a throw.
An aggressive toss.
The bat thrower isn't punished, then he does it again and hits someone. The victim would sue the league. Tough lesson for the kid, but actions have consequences. I think part of the issue was they promote bat flips on their video for Little League.
Yeah.
Apparently they do. I've not seen any
I'm sure they do.
promotional videos. But that's what it says, is that they actually promote bat flips on their Little League video. So in other words,
Do they promote bat aggressive tosses, though?
well, that I don't know. And I don't, then again, that is like who judges what's more aggressive than the next. I guess sometimes you could just tell, but it wouldn't really need a definition. When you see an aggressive bat throw, you see an aggressive bat throw, right? It doesn't need to be explained to you, right? Someone else sent the text just on celebrations in general. It says, the gritty is solo, not some choreographed skit. It's not the same. It's still choreographed.
It's choreographed.
I mean, he practiced the gritty.
It's just by himself.
Yeah, and it is by himself. And
it's a signature dance as opposed to, the defense changing there.
And the kids love it. Someone else quoted Chuck Foreman. I don't know if Chuck ever said this, but he says, Chuck said when he crossed the goal line, his point had been made. There's no need to celebrate. And see, that's kind of how I am. But I want to preface it again. Well, I'm not prefacing it anymore now. I'm saying it on the back end. I don't care if they celebrate. That water, that what do they say? That ship has sailed. They allow celebrate. There was a time they didn't allow celebrations in National Football League. You would get fined for them. And now I think what the NFL has done is said, the kids love it. The new generation loves celebrations. They love people that primp and preen and show off and blow their own horn. Nothing I would ever do. That's just not in my nature to blow my own horn. But apparently, athletes nowadays like to do it. I mean, the baseball ones are the ones that floor me. If let's say you're a 500 team, you're going to win 81 games all year. And the celebrations they do when they win on a walk-off, you would think you would go, if someone just showed you that, just the highlight of that, the hit or whatever, the celebration, you'd go, what World Series Game 7 was that from? Right? Because that's what you would think. I mean, the celebration is so over the top for a mid-May game that gets your team back to, I don't know if by mid-May you would have played this many games, that gets you to a 12-22 record. You actually should be embarrassed that you're 12-22. You shouldn't be celebrating a walk-off victory. But if you want to do it, do it. And the fans seem to embrace it.
They love it.
And enjoy it. They love it. The chest pounding, the whole thing.
When are they going to start bringing out champagne bottles for those walk-offs?
Yeah.
As they're crossing home plate, you spray them with the champagne bottle.
I don't think they'll go that far, but it's always possible. Now, that all being said, I made it clear before. I think we just talked about this a week ago. We were talking about celebrations for I think it was because it was did Bader or was it Clemens, somebody had a walk-off bunt?
It's Brooks Lee, yeah.
Yeah, Brooks Lee. The idea of celebrating a walk-off bunt it makes me smile. But for me, the greatest celebration in the history of celebrations, and I don't know if I'm in the minority, it's one. Who's the wide receiver that signed the football, that autographed it? Owens?
Is that Terrell Owens? Or is that Joe Horn? Yeah, Terrell Owens, yeah. Joe Horn did the cell phone.
I just love that he took the time to put a Sharpie in his sock, knowing he was going to score. And then I just like the idea. Here, I'm going to autograph it and give it to you.
Play the game with a Sharpie in his sock.
It's just so brilliant. I look at that and I say, now that is a thunked out celebration. It's unique and it's clever. He's autographing the football. Here, I'm going to autograph this for you and give it to you. I just thought that was my very favorite. Gritty's okay. It's all right. I think Icky Woods was, I don't know if he would be, if the Icky Shuffle was kind of the birthplace of football celebrations. But if you remember, and maybe I'm wrong here, Tenneby, I don't know if, you know the Icky Shuffle. I don't know if you remember the circumstances around it. I think he used to always do it behind the bench.
He couldn't do it on the field.
Because you couldn't do it in the field. That was the issue. No on-field celebrations. So Icky said, well, then I'm going to get off the field and go by the bench. And the camera would catch him, and he would do the little, it was a version of the gritty. It was different. It wasn't quite as, the gritty, he kind of keeps moving really fast, right? The gritty's, waving the arms and doing the feet. All Icky would do was just get up on one foot and kind of bounce on it with his toe turned in. Then he'd bounce on the other foot and turn it in like that. And he would do it off field. It's gone from that to where you could be punished for it, and they still do. I mean, would any celebration, because like the Joe Horn one, did he get suspended or have to pay a fine when he put the cell phone in there? And I think maybe Terrell Owens did as well.
I think if you use a prop.
Is that what it is, if you use a prop?
I mean, obviously, if you did something sexually related if you acted like you're brandishing a gun.
Well, they're doing that now, correct.
You're going to get punished for that. But
yeah, and so I guess there are some rules and regulations, but here's one that says, Common, do you remember when all you needed was a decent pair of spikes, a decent glove, and a bat to play baseball? Now kids have arm sleeves, elbow guards, shin guards, sliding mitts. Well, that's technology. That's an advance in equipment. Well, back when I played, like when we played Pony League baseball, I've talked about this before. I think anybody can pretty much play Little League baseball now, right? Are there still tryouts for Little League? Because back in my day, you had to try out for Little League. It was in like early April. We'd go to the Sand Creek Fields down in Coon Rapids. They were the nicest fields in Coon Rapids. They actually had real dugouts. It was the only baseball facility, I believe, in Anoka County that actually had real dugouts, and they had lighted fields and grass infields. Where we played at Kennedy Park with Pony League, it was just dirt and dandelions, and it was, you didn't even want to slide because it's not like they never groomed those fields. It was just hard dirt. I wouldn't even call it soil. It was just rock hard dirt. And you tried out for Little League. You would go there on Saturday, April 6th or whatever it was, and it was nerve-wracking as a kid because you wanted to make Little League so bad. And they would hit you it was very quick because there were so many kids. There were literally hundreds of kids. And they would hit you like 3 fly balls, 3 ground balls. You would get like 3 swings at the plate, and they would determine that was what they used. Because there were so many kids. It's not like they could do it, give you a day and a half tryout. It was quick, and I was never good enough to make it. So I always got relegated to, it was Pee-wees and Ponies. I don't even know if that still exists. And Pee-wees was 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grade. Ponies was 4th, 5th, and 6th. And all we got, the part of the reason you want to be on Little League is you got real baseball uniforms with the stirrups. How some not many players wear them anymore in big league baseball. Most of them have their baseball pants, all the way to the all the way to the ankles, right down to the top of the shoes. But back in the olden days, that was half the reason you wanted to play in the Little League. So you'd have stirrups. Wow. You'd have the white athletic socks with the stirrups, and you had a real uniform with a hat. Hell, in Pony League, we got a matching T-shirt and hat. That was it. That was your uniform. It was a T-shirt. And you couldn't wait to see what color your team was going to be that year. Because they just randomly assigned, somebody from the Coon Rapids Athletic Department, whoever it was, would come by in a pickup truck. He would dump a box of T-shirts and hats out and then go on to the next field. And we would tear it open. Are we going to have the red T-shirts this year? Are we going to be black, green, blue, whatever it was? Cleats? I played in tennis shoes. We couldn't afford them. My dad was going to go out and buy us baseball shoes. So, all I had was a glove and a baseball bat. That's all we had. Well, and the baseballs that get rejected, how many baseballs do they go through in a Major League Baseball game? Hundreds, right?
Hundreds.
If the ball hits the ground on a pitch that's in the dirt, they throw that ball out.
Yeah.
What do they do with those? Do they donate that to Little League teams? Because we were always looking for baseballs. You had a collection of baseballs. You might have 4 or 5, and you had your really good one that was still in pretty good shape. And then you had the ones where the seams were starting to bust off of them, So, it's changed the way they are. Now, the sliding mitt. We didn't have
I think the sliding mitt's hilarious.
Yeah.
There's 10-year-olds out there that, and it's a pain for the base coach has to hold on to them, right? And then they got to, or when they take off the batting gloves, they give them to the base. But like the first base coach is just loaded with stuff in his pockets for if someone gets on base. And because even Leo wanted the sliding mitt. Like, no, I'm not getting a sliding mitt. Like the odds of a player's cleat stepping on your hand, like, is so minimal. I'm sure it could happen, but it's not worth all of the annoyance of carrying that thing around nonstop and keeping track of it.
Well, I think some of it for some kids, it isn't even so much they're worried about getting stepped on. It just looks cool, right? Because everybody, the major leaguers have, the major leagues flip their bat, so I'm going to flip my bat. Yeah. Major leaguers have a sliding glove. I got to have a sliding glove. Major leaguers chewing tobacco, so I want to chew tobacco. Kids are only 12. Not yet. So I think that's part of it, though, too.
Yeah, they think it looks cool.
Yeah, it looks cool. It's what the big leaguers have. That's like I say, grass infield. Do you have any idea what it was like as a kid to want to play on a field that actually had a grass infield? Because ours was just dirt. Oh, the best thing, we were talking about this the other day, too. Talking about pitching. So Pat Block used to pitch for our Pony League team, right? And Pat you know why we used him as a starting pitcher? Because he was just intimidating, because nobody in Coon Rapids could throw the ball harder, but nobody had less of an idea where the pitch was going than Pat.
He was like Mitch Williams.
Oh, yeah, and the kids were terrified. The other teams would come up there and they know it's Block throwing, and they know it's like, and we didn't have those helmets that had
a little sidebar thing.
I don't know why a major league player that doesn't use the little side thing that covers the face, how would you go up at the plate with these guys throwing 100 miles an hour and not wear that? And I get it. It's probably a bit of a distraction. You probably see it out of the corner of your eye and it feels uncomfortable. Would you go to the plate, Tenby, with somebody throwing 100 miles an hour without having that
protection?
Yeah, I just can't see how anybody would not do that.
Well, the big leaguers, they got tons of protection. They got the ankle thing. A lot of them have stuff on the wrist.
But some of them don't wear, but they don't wear that thing on the face, and I just can't even believe that they don't. But yeah, so having Block in the game as a pitcher was just such an advantage to us, because it was almost the pitch, the batter at the plate was already starting to back away and getting ready to step out, thinking it's going to come and it's going to hit me in the head. Pat walked a lot of guys that way too, and we had a lot of hit batters. So we weren't the most successful Pony League team on the planet, but I mean, I think that's what a lot of it is. It's just the kids want to do, what a pro wants, what a pro needs, right? So as a catcher, all you had was the mask. We had trouble finding a catcher's glove. I think our coach went out and bought one just so we'd have a catcher with a catcher's glove, right? I mean, nobody on our team had a first baseman's glove. You just had a regular glove. Nobody went out and specialized with a first baseman's glove. Oh, should I do some more poor side of town talk for you? I mean, we just didn't have any money. That just wasn't there.
Well, that was part of the allure of baseball. It wasn't an expensive sport to play.
And like I say, there were no dugouts at Kennedy Park. Do you know why we took the third base? And I used dugout with air quotes just because you just sat on the side of the hill, because there was a big oak tree that I think was probably hundreds of years old that provided shade. There was no shade on the first base line. So that's the reason we took the third base line, is so that we could be under the shade. It was home field advantage in our case. And the other thing out at Sand Creek is they actually had chalked lines, real bases. There was actually a pitching rubber. And then we couldn't believe this from being over on 1033 86th Avenue over at Kennedy Park. At Sand Creek, they actually had how many feet it was to each corner of the field at the end for a home run. Dugouts. They had everything.
All the dugouts.
We didn't have a dugout. We sat on the side of the hill under the old oak tree is what we did. So trying to make Little League was the goal, and I was just never ever able to do it. Did you skate at the? You played hockey at the Osseo Ice Arena? Is that what it's called?
Yes.
I
think it's different now.
Yeah, I just drove by it today.
Maybe Dick Vra
Yeah,
Memorial Arena or something
I
like that?
just drove by it today.
Yeah.
Yeah, going over to get some car work done. I saw it. I immediately thought of you.
That's surprised you'd be at that part of town.
Yeah, well, that's where my cousin has his auto mechanics place. That's where I go. I think I've said this before on the air. It's going to be back when I was in my Haight-Ashbury days. I just wanted an honest drug dealer, and I want an honest auto mechanic, and I know him. So, here's Little League tryouts happen at the beginning of the season, and then coaches draft the league teams generally in June. Another tryout is done to pick the all-star team and try to advance in the World Series. Yeah, that was well beyond my my wildest dreams. That's not how it worked for us. Here's another one, Teneby. Eye black under the eyes, right?
Yeah.
I think kids do it just because you see the pros have eye black. And it's supposed to be for reflection purposes, right? So the sun doesn't reflect off your eyes. Then your eyes squint. And if your eyes squint, it burns energy, as you know.
There was one kid. Yeah. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
There was one kid at a tournament this year for a different team that used the eye black to make a mustache. I'd never seen that before.
Seriously?
I thought that was really, yeah.
Yeah, no,
Thought that was pretty funny.
This one says, Sand Creek was Coon Rapids Central. It was Coon Rapids Central. It was the place to be. This one says the average baseball lasts 7 pitches. The average baseball. That sounds probably about right, because if the windup, here's the pitch, it's outside, ball one, catcher tries to frame it, the umpire looks at the catcher. How many times do you think the umpire just says to the catcher, don't even try that again? You can't be serious. But so it's probably an average of 7. I would think they donate those to Little League, right? You got to give them to somebody that can use them. Let's see what Mark
Maybe
Rose.
they use it for their batting practice balls.
I guess that's possible too. I would donate it to Little League teams is what I would do. We'll take a break. Hour number 2 in the books. The legendary Mark Rosen waiting in the wings. He joins us next here on the Common Man program on KFAN.